Adam Green has been pushing for the public option with his group, Progressive Change Campaign Committee. And they work together with Democracy for America and Credo Action, et cetera. And they got 119 House members on board. I believe they're up to about 23 senators already signing the letter to encourage it, et cetera. And then Obama comes in, deflates the tires on this thing. So Adam had this quote that wound up making headlines in some places. Quote, "The White House obviously has a loser mentality, but America rallies around winners." He continued, polls show that in state after state, voters hate Senate bill and overwhelmingly want a public option, even if passed with 0 Republican votes. More than 50 Senate Democrats and 218 House Democrats were willing to vote for the public option before, and the only way to lose in reconciliation is if losers are leading the fight. All right. Adam is on the line with us now. Adam, those are pretty tough words.
They are, and they're well-deserved at this point. Now, I actually shared your initial reaction yesterday. I wasn't overly livid, and myself and Stephanie Taylor and Aaron Swartz, the co-founders of the PCCC, put our heads together and weren't really prepared to react too much to the White House proposal, thinking that if they want to do kind of a PR stunt on Thursday and try to have bipartisanship, that's fine. But they kind of went past their, our hope for them doing no harm. And today really started to do some harm by actually saying that there wouldn't be the votes in the Senate for the public option. And that says that they're not just doing a PR stunt, they're actually campaigning against it. So we had to take some action.
You had to take some action indeed. All right, so let's do two things here. One is talk about the politics of your statement, actually. And then let's talk about how we're going to actually get the public option done without the White House. So first, I know that there's going to be some liberals that are crying. And they say, no, Adam, you hit him too hard. You hit him too hard. You can't call the president or the White House a loser. That'll hurt the Democrats, et cetera. How do you respond to that?
Well, here's how I would respond. In Harry Reid's home state, 34% of the people support the Senate bill, and 56% of the people support the public option. We did polling, and Harry Reid is now losing to both major Republican contenders by 14%. So what the White House is asking Harry Reid to do is be a loser. They're asking him to vote for a really unpopular bill and lose his election, whereas our polling found that if he fought for and won a public option, he would win by 4-1 the undecided voters and a huge chunk of the vote that's currently going to the Republicans. That's a winning strategy. State after state, we polled, Washington State, Illinois, Missouri, Virginia, Iowa, Minnesota, Colorado, every single state. Senate bill is in the 30% approval range, and the public option is around 60%. So, Obama should not be asking Democrats to be losers in 2010. It's a smart political strategy. It's a smart policy strategy. They should just do it.
And I think that you calling them out like that and then getting so much coverage actually does, in my opinion, is great because it puts them in the spot. And it creates a consequence for their inaction, right? And before, they just get away with it. But now if they're getting called a loser in public, that's going to sting them, right? And they're going to want to respond to that sting. So I think you've done a great job in putting them on the spot. Then before we go on to where we go from here, Adam, I know we've discussed this a lot, but I got to ask the same question, which is, if they see your polls, which they're not stupid, they see the polls, right? And they realize it's a political loser to take out the public option, and they claim they're in favor of the public option theoretically. Why are they doing it? It seems to be, and no one's convinced that they don't actually have the votes. That seems to be an excuse. So why aren't they doing it?
Yeah, it's really, we've been thinking about this for so many months. It's almost, I feel repetitive. But part of it is they live in this D.C. bubble. I mean, I feel like there are so many personal relationships that they're worried about that they're just completely forgetting about the 60% of Americans who want the public option. It's just weird. It's just a weird thing. But I think there might be one kind of short-term thing that is coming up right now, which has really tainted their judgment. And that is, they had this bipartisan summit on Thursday. Now, there's plenty of bipartisan support for the public option in the country. Again, polls show 30% of Republican voters want it, in addition to 60% of independent voters. But I think from their perspective, they're like, oh, we might offend the Republicans if we propose the public option in our proposal, and that will allow them to call us, bad faith actors in this bipartisan summit. And therefore, I feel like they crafted their entire serious proposal, in preparation for a bipartisan press stunt, and then they kind of internalized that, and now Robert Gibbs is out there, really making a substantive case, which is wrong, for why they couldn't pass the public option. It's really annoying. That's why, again, I was perfectly content to have them do a PR stunt on Thursday, call the Republicans out, show that they don't want to work in a bipartisan manner, and then push for the strongest thing possible in reconciliation. But them, declaring from the start that there aren't the votes is really a loser mentality. And I would just flag, by the way, for any of your listeners or viewers who are watching online, if you open up a separate tab on your browser and type in HuffingtonPost.com, you'll see a great loser-looking picture of Robert Gibbs and a big headline that says "loser mentality." So the word is definitely getting out there.
No, I love that. There's no question I saw that. All right, so let's talk about what's going to come up here. Because, look, I think that some are saying, Plumline, for example, ran a story saying, well, just because they didn't put there's the picture, by the way. Oh, that's awesome. Now, some are saying that, look, just because they didn't put it in this version doesn't mean they're not going to put in the public option later. The White House is, right? And that's what you referred to there, Adam. So what are the chances that they come out of the summit? And let me refer to something else as well. L.A. Times wrote a story, Peter Nicholas did, saying, that they might do the summit and then come out afterwards swinging and saying, look, they didn't take our offer here of bipartisanship, so now we're going to get tougher and stronger, and we're going to go in this direction. I don't believe it at all, but I'm willing to listen. What's your thoughts on that? What's the chance that they put the public option in later, the White House does?
Well, it's all going to come down to us forcing their hand. I wouldn't expect anything proactive from them, and that's why we're gradually, building support on this letter from Senator Mike Bennett calling for the public option through reconciliation. We're now up to 23 signers, and we have this website, whipcongress.com, WHIPcongress.com, where folks can see if their Democratic senator is a signer yet, and if not, call them. But, our basic strategy at this point, and again, it's like myself, Stephanie, Aaron, and then our partners at Democracy for America and Credo Action, we put our heads together and we pretty much came up with, we want to get to 40. We want to get to 40 as quickly as possible, because once you're over the 40 mark, there's kind of an air of inevitability. Like, it'll be tough for Harry Reid to deny a vote on the public option when 40 members of his caucus want it. It'll be tough for people like, say, a Jim Webb or a Mark Warner to keep remaining silent on this when 40 of their colleagues, including tons of moderate senators, are all publicly calling for it. So we want to get there. And then, once we're creeping up from 40 to 50, I think the White House will do what they love to do most, which is cave. And, say, okay, well, it looks like the votes are there, so we'll endorse the public option. But I wouldn't expect anything proactive from them. We have to force their hand. And again, anybody who has a Democratic senator should really check out whipcongress.com and help us make phone calls. These things are really working.
Let me get into the level of detail there real quick then. I mean, how do you do it? If you have a senator that hasn't signed on yet, say Claire McCaskill hasn't signed on yet, right?
Yep.
So let's say you're in Missouri. I mean, she might be one of the last ones. I don't know. And you want to push her in the right direction. What do you do? And has it been working to get to the number 23, et cetera?
It's definitely been working. Basically, people who go to whipcongress.com would just type in their name and zip code, and we'd give you her phone number, and you call. But when you call, know that you are not alone. There are hundreds and hundreds of other people calling on most days now. We're sending out email alerts every single day. And, behind the scenes, just about 20 minutes ago, actually, I sent our most recent poll numbers in Missouri to a member of her staff. And I want to make sure that they're seeing it directly. And my hope, our hope is that as they, get these poll numbers behind the scenes, as their press department, gives them local media clips about our polling or about, just this issue, and then the calls come into the front office, they feel like, whoa, okay, people are paying attention and we need to respond. And I'll tell you, Mike Bennett's office has told us that, a lot of these senators that signed the letter were not senators that they necessarily reached out to sign the letter. They credited the fact that all these phone calls were getting these senators on board. So it really has been a great example of the grassroots stepping up and taking the leadership mantle that some politicians have refused to claim themselves.
All right. And how do you think, just real quick, after the summit's over, how do you think it plays out? I mean, obviously the Republicans are still going to give 0 votes. Is there a period of time that the White House waits while their offer is being considered, and then, you know, I mean, I don't know how. Where do they turn? You're saying, I guess, that they're not going to do a damn thing until you get the 40 senators, and when you do, then then they're put on the spot from the left.
Yeah,
and that's the only way to go.
If people want some must-see TV, I would suggest tuning in to any news channel between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. on Thursday, the final hour of this thing, where there's just going to be like this awkward end of this meeting, where there's going to have, I think, be nothing tangible to take away. And I'll be really curious to see how the White House tries to put a graceful face on the fact that Republicans are absolutely going to say no. The Republicans, by the way, aren't even sending moderates, supposed moderates, like Olympias Note to this meeting. They're sending like some of the most conservative, extreme senators they possibly can. So it's not even going to be like tips of the hat towards bipartisanship at this meeting. And, my hope, and again, maybe we shouldn't hope for the White House, but my hope is that, starting Friday, they start sending some very public signals that they gave Republicans one last chance and Republicans blew it. And that would be kind of a nod for Congress to start the reconciliation route and just, be a very clear marker that the White House is done with Republicans. Now, the alternative is they accomplish nothing at this meeting but keep talking about bipartisanship, which would just continue to muddy the waters. So again, I'm hoping for real clarity on Friday. And if we have clarity around reconciliation, well, then, some remarks like those that we heard today from Rockefeller, who said, oh, I really want bipartisanship and therefore not reconciliation, which were interpreted as kind of like the death knell for the public option in some quarters. Those things become moot because as of Friday, we could be in full reconciliation mode, and I hope that's where we are. And then it's only a question of do we or don't we have the public option.
And by the way, the place that you should check that out, that healthcare summit between 3 and 4 o'clock, is, of course, theyoungturks.com. We're going to be covering it live all day long.
There we go.
And so when it happens, we'll be ready to capture those wonderfully awkward moments. So
good.
Adam Green's from Progressive Change Campaign Committee. The current website is whipcongress.com. Everybody check it out. Adam, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Watch more clips at theyoungturks.com.